The money invested here is huge. We had 7 cuts here stripped, ready to go. So there is probably, give or take, $10 million here laying to be picked up. 4,000 or 5,000 ounces for sure.
Minutes ago, Tony Beets found an old machine full of gold at Nugget Creek. He was already down on his luck after spending nearly $1 million on other equipment. And then his best machine, the Viking, caught fire.
I think it is well within our reach.
Don't count your chickens till they hatch, though, do
Well,
it.
half of them are hatched already, so it'd be pretty simple.
Yeah.
Hoping to turn things around, Tony took a chance and bought this old gold machine for over $400,000. What treasures could this forgotten machine still have? Tune in to expose what Tony Beets digs up next at Nugget Creek. The saga of the Viking dredge. Despite his motivation, he ran into serious problems with his main mining machines, especially his dredges. These large machines, which float on water, were key to filtering soil and rocks to find gold. His main dredge had broken down, threatening both his gold operation and the safety of his crew. Even after putting in a lot of time and nearly $1 million to buy and set up these dredges, things went wrong just weeks after they started running. One dredge, known as the Viking, stood out. This massive 350-ton machine had been a major part of Beets' gold mining success for many years.
The Trommel out of there, because the sooner we get that thing out, the sooner we'll go back.
Yes.
Anyway, when we go down the hill, pay kind of attention. She's kind of steep in places. Good enough. Let's go.
Just when it seemed like things were starting to turn around, disaster hit. During one of their mining runs, the Viking caught on fire. This unexpected fire was caught on camera and shown on their TV show, leaving the machine badly damaged. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the event was a major setback for his mining operation. He and his team put a lot of effort into fixing the Viking. As they worked, they realized the job was much harder than they first thought. The boat was in really bad shape, leading to costly repairs. Because of this, he had to put the Viking on hold and focus on other areas of his mining business. One major focus was dredge number 1, also called the Clear Creek Dredge, which had its own share of problems. These problems ranged from small ones like replacing old buckets to big time-consuming fixes that needed a lot of money. Even though they did everything to keep it running, he and his crew knew that they couldn't keep this up for long. The dredge could handle a large amount of material, which meant there was potential for big earnings. But he knew that to reach his targets, he needed another reliable dredge. Then another challenge hit. One of his dredges sank twice in just 6 weeks.
The inside one's good, so it's just about the outside one, so I must have caught something going around a corner. By the looks of it, tore up a rim.
Both of them. That's the first $1,000 bucks.
This dredge was once famous for pulling out 1 million ounces of gold from the Klondike, worth about $1.8 billion in today's market, back in 1939. But now it had serious problems like sand clogging its gates and water leaking into its pontoons, making it sink repeatedly. With these setbacks, he began looking for other options to boost his output. Then, while out in the remote Yukon wilderness, he heard about an old mobile trommel left abandoned in the forest. Seeing an opportunity to turn things around, he decided to spend about $400,000 to get this trommel working again. This choice was partly driven by the rising gold prices and his urgent need to make up for the issues with his dredges. Unlike the stationary dredges that had to stay in one place, the trommel was a portable machine that could be moved around. This 35-ton machine, built 30 years ago by an independent miner, became his new hope. This machine was a huge piece of equipment, around 40 feet long, and it moved on wheels. It had only been used for 1 season before it was abandoned, but he knew its value and didn't feel bad about buying it. When he got to where the machine was, he looked over its design and the potential it had. This trommel was built to handle multiple tasks and was a big step up from his older machines. It could take dirt straight from the dig site and send the leftover waste out the other side. When it was done, it could roll to a new spot on its 4 big wheels. In the jungle, a huge machine's future is at stake. The trommel's arduous journey. A technician took a quick look at it and said it might work again. He knew it was important to get it running because he had invested a lot of money into it. Still, he was ready to take a loss if it didn't work out. He described his long-term familiarity with the trommel, mentioning that he had known about it for years. The owner, after a lengthy period of negotiations, had finally presented a reasonable offer, abandoning the previously exorbitant demands. Believing the timing was opportune, he decided to purchase it. His approach was practical. If the Trommel proved functional, excellent. If not, he was prepared to accept it as an unfortunate outcome. The real challenge was getting this massive 35-ton machine out of the jungle and across a river. At his Paradise Hill camp, his team of 7, led by Len, planned to haul the Trommel more than 100 miles over rough mountain roads and trails. This meant he had to stop his regular operations, which cost him millions of dollars each day. His youngest son, Mike, took charge of the crew and the heavy equipment to bring the Trommel back. For Mike, the hardest part of the trip was getting the big machine onto the ferry. He felt sure the ferry could handle the weight, but he was worried about his truck's length, which was over 80 feet long. If the ferry couldn't take them, their only other option was a bridge 175 miles in the opposite direction.
Well, first we're going to get the D6 attached to the frame. This is going to get attached to the Trommel, and the 220's excavator is going to get attached to the Trommel.
As they prepared for the trip back, he joked that they had already spent their first $1,000 without realizing it. It was a lighthearted moment, but it hinted at the tough road ahead because of the rough terrain they had to deal with. The main goal was to move a huge Trommel out of Moose Creek in just 3 days. He knew this would be hard, but he didn't waste any time getting started. But how could they possibly pull this off? He chose to break down the Trommel piece by piece. He started with the conveyor, then the sluice box, and finally the massive 20-ton drum, all before the snow arrived. On the first day, they managed to take apart the conveyor. He was pleased with his team's progress and called it a night. Meanwhile, their competitors kept mining and pulling out more gold. On the second day, they went after the sluice box. Cody Hunter carefully separated it from the Trommel's main structure. Once that was done, their focus shifted to the heavy 20-ton drum. The plan was simple. Remove the hydraulic supports, let the Trommel rest on its wheels, then lift the drum and slide it out. But this is where things got tricky. A steel plate had been welded to one of the Trommel's legs to hold up the frame and ease pressure on the hydraulics. Kevin was assigned to cut through it, but as he did, the Trommel started to tip, almost crushing him. Then, to make matters worse, another team member lost his footing and fell into the drum. For a moment, everyone froze, then quickly moved back to safety to figure out the next move. With the river cross, new problems wait as the sun goes down. Grit and gold. After that close call, they finally managed to load the drum onto a powerful military tank transporter along with the rest of the parts. But that wasn't the end of their troubles. They had to reach the highway before dark, with only 3 hours left to avoid the unpredictable weather and rough path. The truck driver had to keep a steady pace to stop the truck from tipping over. But that wasn't the worst part. Several times the truck leaned dangerously, with its wheels lifting off the ground on one side. The tension grew even more when they got stuck in thick mud. It was a complete standstill, making their tough task even harder. They were lucky to pull the truck out using a strong backhoe loader. By the evening, they finally made it back to camp. As usual, Beets gathered everyone to thank them for their hard work. During this time, he didn't find any gold because he was too focused on moving the Trommel. Within a span of 3 days, all components of the Trommel were transported back to the camp, aligning perfectly with Beets' initial plan. During their final gathering, he expressed gratitude towards the crew for their steadfast determination and resilience. Despite the adverse conditions of rain and snow, they had managed to conquer the challenges set before them. Beets acknowledged their hard work and dedication, noting the harsh cold and affirming it was time to leave.
Let's cut this old one out and lay a new one in. Let's do it.
He appreciated their efforts profoundly and signaled it was time to depart. But then, a truck suddenly flipped over with the driver still inside. Meanwhile, Ness, a competitor, was also having a tough time. He set a goal of 1,000 ounces of gold and his team worked non-stop for most of the month. But after all that effort, they found that the hole they were digging was empty. And things got even worse. One of Ness's team members, Cruz, had a serious accident. His 30-ton rock truck turned over while he was driving it in the pit, leaving him stuck inside. This was a huge problem because they were far from any proper medical help. Luckily, Cruz wasn't badly hurt. The first thing they had to do was flip the truck back over to get back to work. Amazingly, just 2 hours after the accident, Cruz and his crew were mining again. Even though it was a hard month, Ness's team managed to collect 45 ounces of gold, which they were proud of. But the real value of buying the Trommel wasn't just about gold. Even though Beets didn't find any gold for 3 days and lost money, buying the neglected mobile Trommel was a smart move. It had many benefits, even if it took a lot of time and effort to get it working. Unlike his old dredges, the Trommel was easier to move and more reliable. By investing in it, Beets wanted to avoid downtime and keep a steady gold production. Installing the Trommel, a crucial piece of mining equipment, meant that once it was up and running, it would make the gold extraction process much smoother. The expected outcome was a big boost in efficiency. The machine's ability to handle large amounts of material quickly meant that Beets could collect more gold in less time. Instead of relying on slower, older methods, Beets decided to put all his focus on this machine, making it a well-thought-out risk. After the challenges, a new plan for the Trommel brings hope. The strategic moves of Tony Beets. He chose to put all his resources into getting the Trommel set up and avoided distractions. This focus was necessary because there was a time crunch to get it running before winter. If successful, the crew would benefit from using this high-performance equipment, which would help them for many years ahead. Beets, known for his sharp sense of the mining business, saw that the time and money spent on the Trommel would pay off in the long run. His focus on the Trommel wasn't just for quick gains. It was meant to build long-term success, a smart business move. The real value of the Trommel wasn't only in its efficiency, but in the big impact it made on the entire mining process. The Trommel's ability to process materials right where they were found meant they didn't have to move large amounts of dirt to a different location. This saved a lot of time and cut down costs on transporting the material, giving Beets a big advantage. His dedication to this machine paid off in reliability and efficiency, making it easier to hit his gold production goals. The Trommel was like a gold mine itself, bringing huge benefits that were key to Beets' success. His ability to think ahead and try new ideas in gold mining was clear from his past investments. He had already spent $1,400,000 on a custom-built excavator designed for the Yukon's tough terrain. This heavy 100-ton machine could load huge amounts of rock quickly, making the mining process even faster.
Let's hook a cat to it. What do you think? Yep. Fire up, Len. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay?
Through these careful choices, Tony Beets had not only made gold mining more efficient, but also found ways to handle environmental and logistical problems, ensuring his continued success in the very competitive world of gold mining. One of his most important finds is the Paradise Hill claim, a place rich in gold, which has always provided steady income and greatly increased Beets' long-term earnings. He also owns the Scribner Creek claim, which became well-known on the show Gold Rush. He rented this site to Parker Schnabel's mining crew, showing his skill at finding good opportunities and working well with other miners. Plus, his long experience in mining has given him almost an instinct for picking out promising locations. His deep understanding of the land and what signs show there might be gold helps him make smart decisions about where to put his money and efforts. But he doesn't just trust his gut. Beets does thorough research before committing to any claim. He looks at past data, does test drills, and carefully studies how much gold the site might produce. His careful planning ensures he only invests in places that have a high chance of paying off. But that's not all. Beets' plan to spread his money across several different mining spots helps lower risk and keeps a steady flow of gold coming in. This way, he's able to keep his earnings up even when the gold market isn't doing well. Even more, Beets is always open to trying new mining methods and invests in the latest technology to make his sites work better. This willingness to improve has been key to getting the most out of his mining efforts. For example, buying the Trommel machine turned out to be a smart decision, as it fixed his dredging problems. He bought it to save time and make the work easier for his team, which ended up making them more money in the long run. But things don't always go smoothly. Even with all his experience and careful planning, the unpredictable nature of mining can still throw surprises. A risky joke puts the team under unexpected pressure. A legal battle. Tony Beets is well known in the mining industry for his strong personality and unique way of doing things. While some admire his no-nonsense attitude, others see it differently. One event that stirred up a lot of controversy was when someone from his crew, with Tony's approval, poured gasoline into a dredge pond and set it on fire. What might have been meant as a joke turned into a dangerous situation. The incident was shown on the Discovery Channel, and it didn't go unnoticed. A viewer saw what happened and reported it to the mining authorities in Yukon. According to Yukon News, Tony, his company Tamarack Inc., and the crew member involved all faced legal trouble. They broke the Yukon Waters Act by adding pollutants to a regulated water source. Tony took responsibility for what happened and admitted during an interview with CBC that he should have stepped in to stop it. He accepted the fine and legal consequences, agreeing that the joke went too far. Although the fine was $31,000, probably not a huge amount for someone as wealthy as Tony, it didn't stop people from criticizing him. On the show, Tony often gets feedback about his strict way of leading and his use of strong language, which some viewers think is too harsh. His tough demeanor is especially noticeable when equipment breaks down. In one episode, he scolded his son Kevin for not keeping a machine in good shape, saying these mistakes cost time and money. Viewers had mixed feelings, with some believing he was too hard on his son. Tony is known for tackling problems head-on, but his blunt way of handling mistakes doesn't sit well with everyone. He's strict about safety, and if someone breaks a safety rule, he doesn't hesitate to call them out. He wants everyone to be safe because mining is a dangerous job, and one wrong move can lead to serious accidents. While his approach pushes his crew to do their best, it also adds a lot of stress. This tension can make it hard for the team to keep up morale. His pressure isn't just about his personality. He deals with big investments, like a $1.4 million custom-built excavator. When the stakes are this high, everyone feels the weight of making sure things run smoothly and nothing goes wrong. It might seem like Tony has always been successful, but he didn't start out rich. He grew up on a farm in Holland, milking cows. In 1984, he moved to Dawson City, Canada, to try his hand at mining. Before that, he lived in Alberta in British Columbia, and the promise of earning $1,000 a week drew him to Yukon. He started out operating machines and worked his way up until he was managing a major mining claim and even leasing land to newcomers. But even with millions of dollars of gold flowing through his operations, it's not just the money that drives him. Tony sees himself and his team as modern-day gold hunters, using high-tech tools to chase big finds. They face obstacles every year, but they keep coming back, not just for the profit, but because of their deep love for mining and the thrill of the hunt. What do you think drives Tony more? The love for mining or the pursuit of wealth? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.